What's good, Toronto? It's Big WishGxd in the building, and you already know what time it is. It's another interview with the great 416 out here, man. So shout out 416 Entertainment for having me tonight.
Your stage name is WishGxd, and it's pretty unique. Yo, tell the story behind it.
Oh, man. So the story behind the name WishGxd is pretty simple, but it's also a little bit complex. When I first made the name, the X is pretty obvious. You know, XXXTentacion was pretty popular at the time, so that's kind of where the name comes from. That's why I put the X through. I like to be able to grant people's wishes, you know, make things happen for people whenever they need something. You know, you struggling, I could give you some money, stuff like that. Like, you need something, I got you. That's what the whole name really is. And, you know, sometimes they pray to God to do that. So sometimes it takes a God to do that. That's why I try and put myself in that kind of mindset, if that makes sense. You know, I used to be a bit of a narcissist, so I kind of played that out and used that as fuel to kind of build someone who's a lot more generous and giving for other people. So that's where it comes from.
I bet. And then The Boy Who Shot God is one of your newest tracks. What's the story or inspiration behind that?
Oh, so, you know, leading back into my last point when I said, you know, it takes a God to be like that. I used to be a narcissist. That whole track comes from, you know, killing that part of me to become a different person. And that's what that whole song is. Because if you notice, with any of my music from that track onwards, my sound completely changes. Everything completely changes. You know, it's no longer just a SoundCloud rapper in his room, you know, making it just for the money, just for himself. It also comes from actually making it for other people and, you know, to bring up not just my family, but many different people. Everybody that supported me, all my supporters and everything else in between. So that's where it comes from. That's why I like that track. That's where we come from.
I bet. And then which up-and-coming Toronto or Brampton artist should everyone be tapped into? Other than you.
Other than me, hey, I mean, you know, shameless plug, you know. But I have to say, there's a lot out here, man. If you really have to go, you got guys like Cap, you know. I just was talking to him earlier. M2 Keys, he's been coming up. That's my artist, but you know, really young talent he's just been doing good. He's been doing amazing numbers. He just got 6K on like his what is it, Old Ways music video. Everything's peachy. So Cap Stark, M2 Keys, definitely K-Knives for sure. Tap in with him. If you're not tapped in with people like Vertigo, definitely tap in with Vertigo. You got to tap into a lot of people. The list will go on and on all night, and you know, we don't have all night, but that's my solid list right now. I can't lie. Oh, and Occupied. Really good artist too, especially if you're coming out of Wawa or anywhere up north. That's your guy.
I bet. And if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Is it even a question, guys? I need you to zoom in on me real quick. Is it really a question, guys? No. So the answer, telekinesis. Why? Think about it. Why am I gonna need flight when I can make myself fly anyway and move stuff around with my mind? You telling me that's not the coolest thing in the world? Like imagine you making steps for someone to step up and they don't even step on nothing. Like airwalking basically. It's the greatest thing in the world. So telekinesis by far my favorite power. If you've ever watched Chronicle the movie, best movie out there, definitely give it a watch. But that movie, telekinesis is always gonna be my choice.
Bet. And then if you could drop a surprise collab with any artist, living or dead, who would it be?
XXXTentacion for sure. If we're talking dead, him, Michael Jackson, Tupac, for sure. Now, if we're talking living, hey, I don't know. R2R Mo, for sure. R2R Mo, I've been looking to work with that guy. That'd be a crazy collab, especially if it just came out the blue. So that's definitely a big one. I want to say that would be pretty cool for me, actually. Hell yeah.
Bet. And then your latest project that you just dropped, in living color. Not bad.
Not you good.
In living color. You know, talk to me how that came to be. What's the story behind it?
Ooh, so honestly, that project was kind of just, I needed something. Don't worry about that. Focus on me. So really and truly, that project comes from a lot of different places. This project took me about almost 3-4 years for some of the tracks on there to even become a thing. So that track is kind of an encapsulation of all of the sounds I've ever made. This is like the payoff towards all of it coming into one place. Whether it's X-Rated, that was my most recent single that's honestly done pretty good breakout numbers. Where it comes from, Walk 'Em Down, that song took me 3 years to make, man. 3-4 years. That track was been in the vault, and like I had to go get it redone, remodernized, all of that. But really and truly, like this is just a culmination of essentially becoming the payoff to all the work I've done previously. That's what that album is. That's what that little project is. Now, I do have an album coming. I can't say too much, but I do have an album coming. And essentially what that's going to be, I can't say too much yet, especially because this is going to be my first release under Sony Music, which I just got in with last night.
Damn.
That's it, bro. So I'm gonna be distributing under Sony now, and eventually, who knows? We'll be able to do some crazy things. You might even see me with some crazy artists from Sony. But you never know. Maybe these execs might just tap in with me after this interview, right? Who knows?
If you want it by my flesh, then take it for the pound. Long as all my money green, then you know I'm the key.